Hello, my name is Jacob Middleton. I'm here to give you a presentation on the forecasted interest rates. Now, these interest rates that we use to forecast the yield curve, ultimately, they were pulled from the Wall Street Journal website over the week of October 27th through October 31st. All these rates included the 1-year Treasury bond and Treasury note rates. This is all 1 year too. Now, what that allowed us to do is, given the spreadsheet, we were able to compile that information and actually give a graphical analysis of the yield curve, and like you can actually break it down from day to day, from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. It was nice. It was nice. So, getting back to the point, what we saw with the yield curve, it was strange. It was kind of, I wouldn't say coincidental, but it was just a nice week for us to do this project, because on any other given week when there's not much really going on, I guess this presentation, for lack of better words, would be kind of boring. You know, there's really not much going on, really not much volatility happening, so there's really not much information to kind of give you and kind of, let you know why all these things are happening. And, ultimately, the yield curve really doesn't have much flair to it. Well, some keynotes that happened in this week. The Fed announced that they're going to end quantitative easing, which quantitative easing, that's monetary policy where, the central bank tries to purchase government securities and all that other stuff, and ultimately the goal is to lower interest rates and increase money supply. Now, they increase the money supply, they flood financial institutions with capital, they try to promote lending, liquidity, all this good stuff. And they do this when short-term interest rates are at or approaching zero, which that's pretty much what's happening. And they don't want to print and issue new banknotes. That's the whole point behind this. They're trying to use what they already have and, strengthen the economy as a whole, given what they already have. So that was one of the main things that happened this week. Another thing that happened, oil prices consistently staying low. I don't know why it is, but consumers tend to correlate the strength of the economy with the cost of gas. I mean, I kind of do too. I'm not gonna lie, but you see lower gas prices, the average consumer assumes the economy must be doing well. But long story short, it is. It kind of is. The economy is doing good. That's another reason why the Fed, they're ceasing the quantitative easing. They're pretty sure in the fact that the economy can improve itself on its own. Without the government having to intervene and having to try to increase the money supply. That's ultimately what's happening. Which, the falling oil prices is just another way for us to wrap our heads around it and, believe what we're being told. Let's see. Another thing that happened, increased GDP in its third quarter. That's a good sign, strengthen the economy. Also, the Bank of Japan, with us ending quantitative easing, they're introducing it. They've seen a lot of deflation in their economy, so now they're trying to, boost their numbers up and trying to, catch back up, I guess you could say. It's surprising because they're now buying banknotes. They're like, well, not so much banknotes, but just like securities in general. They're buying so many more securities now that we're not buying them. So it really is the same thing's happening. It's kind of, they're buying all of our securities, so it's actually pushing the prices up. So that's actually lowering our rates. So I mean, believe it or not, like the Fed stopped the quantitative easing. They're stopping the artificial lowering of the interest rates. But what's happening actually is the interest rates are being lowered on their own now. Just how things are happening. Oh, all right, he needs to go. So it's all really showing that the economy is doing what it's supposed to do on its own. which is nice. You know, the government really doesn't have to intervene anymore and kind of artificially do things. I had a bunch of graphs, but for some reason I couldn't get them to play. I actually like couldn't even really get them to play. I don't even have them on my computer anymore. But what you see on the yield curve is, in the beginning, it kind of gradually it kind of does like this, kind of does that, pretty much. And what's happening is all the short-term rates going up fast. They're going up faster than the long-term rates, and that's why you see it kind of plateauing, kind of on the long-term end. It's just because one's rising faster than the other. You know, so actually, what you see on the yield curve as a whole is it kind of shifting upwards and then flattening at the same time. Now, flattening of the yield curve, you know, some people theorize that that's a bad thing. I mean, ultimately, we'll just have to see what actually happens, but whether you assume it's a bad thing or if that's just, you know, a repercussion of what's actually going on in the economy now, you know, I mean, a forecast is a forecast, you know, it's just a prediction, more or less. You know, we'll see what happens in the long run when we actually get there. You know, we can only speculate at this point in time. But, like,